Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll read the minutes from the last meeting. Those present were Fred Farley, Jody Price, John Pfeiffer, Pam Van Hook, and Toby Binge. Others present were Andy Emmert, Robin Cook, Melissa Cunningham, Tina Henderson, and Peggy Jackson. Minutes were read and approved from the March 24th meeting. Andy gave his water, wastewater, and street report. Also, Andy gave his building commissioner report. Under old business, there was discussion regarding the Northern Hamilton County Trail. Tina Henderson spoke to the council regarding this proposed trail and the importance of having a master plan. After a brief discussion, the council unanimously approved the expenditure not to exceed $3,400 for the town's portion to fund the master plan. Mr. Pfeiffer made the motion and Mrs. Price seconded. Under other old business, the Atlanta Youth League, Mr. Farley read the attached letter which turns the Atlanta Youth League property at 795 South Central over to the town. Mr. Farley assured the community that the goal of the council is to restore the ball fields to be used for their intended purposes. Attorney Melissa Cunningham will look into the legalities of having the property titled to the town. For the gratitude of the town council, many members of the community offered their support in helping to rebuild. Under new business, there was a leak adjustment. Kay DeLillo attended the meeting. Her submitted sewer adjustment was approved. She also expressed concerns about the building to the west of her building. Mr. Emmert will look into the local ordinances to determine if they are applicable ordinance/code violations. Mrs. DeLillo also asked that the town shade down the sidewalks in front of her building where they are heaved. The council will look into the matter. Another subject of new business, there were liens on the liens filed at 415 South Railroad. The council discussed the attached letter requesting that the liens at this property be reduced. After a brief discussion, the council denied this request. With no further business to discuss, the claims were signed and the meeting was adjourned. Do I hear a motion this evening that we accept these minutes?
A motion to accept them.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Because I would have done that. There was also a Earth Festival meeting on April the 14th. Those present, Fred Farley, John Binge, Jody Price, Pam Van Hook, Jennifer Farley, John Pfeiffer, Andy Emmert, and Robin Cook. One order of business that we discussed, we will have 2 scholarships this year that will be given to students at Hamilton Heights High School. One will be a $1,000 Ivy Tech scholarship, and the second one will be just a $1,000 scholarship to the second person. We will not reveal those names this evening due to the fact we want it to be a surprise to those folks there at the awards night. So,
I make a motion to accept those minutes.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, Price will tell who wants to know what the secret is.
Reports. Andy.
All right, underwater, Plain Street at 682,590 gallons of water since April 14th. Our average daily usage is down to 48,756. And we only had 4 properties flagged for leaks this month. It's been our lowest so far. Filters were back working on the 22nd. We had one water leak that's been repaired. And water meter's been read for the month of April. I'm continuing to have numerous locate tickets from the phone company. And if I can't get this issue resolved, I may need some council involvement in that. I'm trying to work this out, but I mean, I can show you guys. Last week I spent a day and a half just going through them. I mean, I got almost 100 tickets that all overlap each other and go from one end of the town to the other. I spent a better part of the day Monday doing locates through 2 runs, basically the whole length of the town where they were supposed to start. They didn't start. They started out on Adams, which hadn't been located yet. So, you know, I've called the phone company also. The one water leak I had is where they hit us over on Central. And, you know, I put in a request, which I pretty much think is going to be ignored. I called the phone company and because 200 years ago someone said that phone line needs to be 30 inches in the ground. They're stuck on that. There is no real reason for it to be that deep, but they keep going at 4 feet, which almost everything we have in water is at 4 feet in the town. And I'm trying to get them to get away from 4 feet. Every time they've hit us, I'm not kidding, it has been like an inch. I mean, if they would have just been that much higher, we would have been, you know, we'd have been okay. And I'm gonna see what happens. I've talked to the supervisor here. I called the engineer at the phone company and talked to him about it. And I guess when they start back up, we'll see what happens. You know, I've asked about the other thing I've asked about and I've been ignored. We got alleys, and those, Fred's probably familiar with it, but most of our water and sewers ran right next to each other for the most part in town. You know, now you have to have 10 feet of separation, but with that being said, we've got long runs down these alleys where they're running this fiber optic right on top of our water and sewer, and the other side of the alley is wide open. And I can't get them to move over, to relocate it. I mean, that would just take a whole nother, 2 elements out that would greatly lessen. If they came up shallower and moved away, it would, you know, greatly lessen damage. But then later, when we go back and we have a problem, now we gotta dig and work around fiber optic phone lines. You know, which is expensive if you damage them. And I just don't understand why. And like I said, I've tried talking to the engineer and they just don't care. So, you know, I wanna have another discussion with them, but then, you know, I mean, we may have to have a meeting with them, with the council and us. I mean, I understand they have a right to run in our right of way. I mean, I know there's state statute of that, but with all these conflicting utilities, you know, they need to move away from us.
So it's not a question that they don't have the room, the extra room, it's just that
They just don't
they
want to.
wanna put them where they wanna put them regardless.
Well, because an engineer drew it up that doesn't even work for the company anymore, and they just wanna run
Pencil
with,
pusher
they just
very
wanna
well.
run with his plan. And the plan is flawed. I mean, there's just so many areas. I understand there's certain areas where utilities get tight and it is what it is, but when we've got, you know, areas where, you know, they can move over. I mean, we have some alleys that they could be as much as 10 feet away from us where there's nothing, except maybe some service lines going across. And one, it gets away from us for future projects, but 2, you know, this depth. You know, I talked with the supervisor from the board crew. Well, everybody likes to run at 4 feet. I'm like, man, that's where all my water's at. You know, I mean, for the most part, all our sewer's deeper. You know, in a big chunk of the town, I mean, you know, you're 10, 12, 14, and on down when you get to the north end of town. So the sewer hasn't been as much as an issue. I mean, they did tag a lateral, which they repaired, and the only sewer issue I had was out by the sewer plant, which that was a mistake on Holy Moly's part because they didn't notify us. So when they did a road crossing and hit it, they knew it right away. They did it, so I mean we repaired it. But all of our issues have been with water.
How many repairs have you made to date?
Well, one sewer, and then maybe 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good Lord, you made that.
4 water. I think that's right. Because so far, every water hit's been on Central. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. It's been
One
four,
minute,
been four,
ended.
and you know, they just think it's acceptable. Well, it happens.
And how many of those have resulted in loss of service? Is that question, I mean, have you had to shut a main down?
Two,
Too?
either shut them down or slow them down. I mean,
Slow 'em down.
yeah. The two of them were smaller. We pinched them off while we did them live, but
That's the main line going in there
yeah,
too.
that's just, I don't know, like I said, I'm gonna talk to him again, but I think, you know, I mean, if we can't get it worked out, we may have to have a meeting with the phone company. You know, with all of you, some of you, I mean, I just,
Is that code that it has to be 4 feet? Is
no,
that code?
no, it's 30 inches, it's their own personal thing. I mean, they gotta be at least 18 in the ground.
So there's no, we're not worried about like freeze or anything like that. It's
Not
just
for the cable now.
yeah, just being buried enough to where,
You know, I asked for 2 feet, to be honest with you. I said, if they run at 2, you know, we're okay. And then one of them said, well, we might hit a gas line. I'm like, I said, spot on, you know, I said, you don't mind tearing our stuff up, and I said, it's, you know, it's bigger. I mean, you know, that one repair, you know, is over $500 in couplers. I mean, that's what they don't understand. And you know, when they get up in this part of town and they get bigger, I mean, these couplers for these water mains are $400, $500, $600 for one coupler, and you put 2 on there. I mean, it's
Maybe we need to have a meeting
you
with
get into $1,000 repair right quick, you know. And I'm not
Besides your time.
besides your time. I'm just talking about parts.
Right.
You know, that's a lot of people don't think about. Even a service line with the lead-free brass we have to use now. Those couplers are $37 a piece. So one little hit, 2 cuts, it's $100 worth of materials we're throwing in the ground, plus the
These
tonnage.
guys are just,
And I know
I've seen them out there, I know he's talking
they're
about.
trying to ramrod through. One of the repairs was I was actually out of town, which
60 tickets.
John helped on with Murray, because I was at conference. And they went right through a 4-inch line, but, you know, I'm hoping I'm gonna call him back. The engineer was supposed to talk to him. So I was waiting. That was last week. I talked to the engineer at the phone company.
Maybe we need to have a meeting with them.
I know he was supposed to be coming up here, so I was gonna wait and call him back and see what he says, but I just wanted to let you know if we don't get something, you know, worked out, we may need to, you know, have a meeting with them. Because, I mean, they're just getting started.
yeah, I was gonna ask you, how much have they actually got done?
I
don't what?
Not even, I bet it's not even 10%. 20%. It's been, you know, very little. They're just getting, basically up and down Central, and a couple side shots, a couple small runs up in the north quadrant up around by your house, but, I mean, all the main runs.
I hate to see the mess when they get
Like,
Indiana.
I talked to them about all of, you know, restoration, which they're gonna have restoration crew come back after the handholds go in, and we'll be doing surface restoration. That's one of the things that irritated me. They went to Spot Gas and had a road cut on Central, or in the right of way, where there was a driveway that was asphalt. And I told them, I said, cut the driveway. Don't cut the road. You know, I said the road's too thick and the road get a lot of heavy traffic. What do you think they listen? No,
No.
they cut the road. That's what I told them. Do not cut the road. Spot your utilities out of the road. So it's just another, you know, thing we're gonna have to deal with. So when I talk back with him, I will let you know if we need to do something. And then moving on, I'm gonna be switching to Hawkins for chlorine in a few weeks. We're no longer gonna have to pay deposits on the bottles, and we're gonna save about $160 every time we get chlorine. For wastewater, I've been performing daily checks to the lift station, ponds, and the SSO during rain events. Our sewer plant's open and we're discharging. Weekly samples are complete. We installed 1 new manhole and connected 1 new home and 1 existing home to that. And I spoke with Triad today, and they're working on the sewer plant revisions. See Stu's here now. Biobugs have arrived, and I began treating the ponds this week. I have fluid waste scheduled for tomorrow to clean the lift station and the effluent channel. The grease in the lift station is the worst I have ever seen it, and it's actually causing all the floats to malfunction and the pumps not to run. between Sunday and Monday. And it was around when I did the rounds, but in that 24-hour period, it was down to 24 hours, basically. So, well, I'm gonna find that out. I think that's where it's coming from, but I'm gonna check
Most of
that.
grease.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all fats, oils, and greases. Butter, stuff like that. But there's a ring around the inside of that thing now. When I got that pumped down, saw what was happening. It's sticking off the wall about that far, and at the wall, it's like that thick. It tapers down. I've had some chunks there before. You can take one of the floats and hit it and break it loose. It just sets on it like a shelf. It's nuts. I've never seen it. And I put a bio block in there. I may have to switch to something else. That's kind of taken care of it since we had these problems. But there again, that block lasts for about 3 or 4 months, and they're $500 a piece. It's just becoming a real, maintenance issue that we haven't had in the past. But I'm gonna track down where I think it's coming from, and I'll let you know.
That's against the ordinance to be dumping the grease down there as part of
It is.
discharge.
Yeah, it's against it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a place back here to,
Aren't there inline grease traps that they can put in?
They have one.
Oh, they do.
They don't use it.
Keep it clean, it goes short circuits, goes right through it.
Yeah, once it's full, if you don't clean it, it just short circuits and goes.
Okay.
It'll go right on over it. Now, I had to clean the sewer line back there once because the old sewer line was closing down where the homes and stuff were on it. And, we had to have fluid waste clean that out. Then under streets with Help Arcadia, we repaired 38 potholes, and we're going to be finishing the rest of them soon. I appreciate that help from those guys. And then I've started ordinance mowing on 2 properties and have one that may need a letter. I was going to get with Murray on. And then we have 1 property we're going to have to clean that he sent notification out on that they did nothing. It's more or less abandoned property. And we have another one that's owned by a bank that we may have to notify. I think some of the people in the neighborhood have been helping the pile in the yard. I was doing locates, and it keeps the stuff in the yard just keeps growing and growing. It's become like a little dump. Then we had 1 stray dog. The owner was located, and then I'd like to thank Alan Perry. He's been helping me out here and there with some mowing and helped me put that manhole in. And under buildings, we had 2 building permits issued, 2 inspections, 5 building permit inquiries, 2 zoning inquiries. And one thing I didn't put in there, that Fred touched on, I looked at our zoning ordinance on the building, and I went down and looked at it. The condition it's at right now, the one thing I can have him do, and I'm gonna go talk to him, I'm gonna talk to you first, is I was just gonna talk to him first, and then if you need to send a letter, we could, or I could deliver the letter, but it's boarded up. There is a spot where there is a hole in it, but as far as just the overall condition, if you read our ordinances, it's really not deteriorated to that point where we can force work. The 1 open spot, you can't make them secure the building. So I was gonna go that route first unless you wanna do something different. I think it's gonna be a pretty simple fix for them. Because there is a way for a person to go through there, but a rodent or anything could get in and out of the building. As far as, it's not to the condition yet, as far as forcing them to tear it down or something like that. So, that's all I have unless you have any other questions.
Is everyone fine with Andy just contacting the owner of the building there? And
I'd say
make
that'd
a
be
verbal contact with him.
I'd say it'd probably be the best to start out that way and see if he could just get it taken care of and go from there. And
I think they will.
I don't think it'd be
I
an
really
issue
do.
with it.
It's a piece of plywood and boarding up where there was an old door. It's basically what it's gonna boil down to at this point. If something were to happen later, we could, revisit that, but the ordinance is pretty specific on the amount of decay. It's gonna get pretty bad.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, we'll move on to old business. We have an agreement this evening that needs to be signed with Triad for the proposed water project.
I just know this though, probably not that big of a deal. Says wastewater on the back, that's just the E-Verify, we could probably just get rid of change that, move this for water.
Let's see
It's just the E-Verify, which we know is Aaron's. I think we go back and fire this thing.
Okay.
That's just that back part.
Yeah, scratch that last part, if you will. Yeah, if you guys recall, this is for the PER to go forward with the water project. If indeed that you guys do get grant money from SRF, which they're saying that they do have, and which your financial advisor Steve Brock says you have. So we have to do a PER. That's the first step. Otherwise,
When we did, if you remember, we did that request for qualifications, they were the only responder.
Well, and the contract is our standard contract. We've worked with them.
Initial that?
Yeah, well, that's not even on the E-Verify part. It's on the back of it, but that's a whole different section. Yeah, so we can just initial that and be fine. But they've taken our contract and just inserted the scope of work into it. And so from a legal point of view, it's what we require for all of our contracts.
Is Triad okay with that? That way you have an original tonight and we have an original.
we're fine. As long as you guys are fine, your legal counsel's fine. It's good.
Did you do you have another one? There's 3 parts for you to sign.
And
Was there some change in the law? Is this
yeah, well, this is to reduce it to 8 inches.
oh.
It's to amend our ordinance. What you need. Oh, no, pass, take one and pass it on. It's new business.
Gotcha. Any other old business tonight? Okay, we'll move on to new business.
Fred, I have one item of new business. It was discussed at the last meeting, and it's been discussed before in regard to the weed cutting. Some of the issues that Andy and Murray have had, especially with, right now, I think it's got to get to 12 inches. And there's a lot of dangerous stuff that can hide in 12 inches of grass or weeds, like rocks, metal, and things that can hurt them and make it more difficult. And so after researching, we've looked, and there is no set limit in the sand and state law as to what it can or can't be. And we looked around and we found about 9 other communities in the general area that use 8 inches as the cutoff at which you're allowed to come and mow. And so what I've put together here, along with Melissa, is an ordinance that changes the standard in Atlanta so that it's 8 inches. And that would permit them to go and mow. It would let them get in there quicker and when they can still see what all's there. Now, because this impacts something with a penalty provision, and we're changing a criterion that leads to that penalty, it would be effective 30 days from publication. And so getting it, if the council wants to adopt it now, Robin would advertise it, and then 30 days later, Andy and Murray can start operating off of it.
Can we still enforce the existing ordinance until this is effective then, so that we can still
Yeah, the
proceed with
existing
the-
one is in effect until.
Okay. Do I hear a motion this evening that we adopt this revision to this ordinance?
I'll make a motion that we adopt this. Do we need to give us a new ordinance number, or is it?
It needs an ordinance number.
04-2015-01.
301?
No, 01.
04-2015-01.
Yep.
Well, I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We can sign 2 of these, is that correct? Or just one?
Of the original,
Yeah.
just one.
Okay. Any other new business?
Anything?
Robin, the Tipton garage sale's June the 6th, so if you want to make it 13th to the 20th. Do we know when Miss Hyde's graduation is? I don't know. Maybe we gotta find that out first. We still got another meeting, so, but that's when Tipton's is. Well, we could just set it for, they can just set it for, whatever is not Heights' graduation. and Tipton's, you said is, Tipton's garage sales are when?
6.
When's gonna be trash day?
Okay.
When's gonna be trash day?
Next month sometime.
So it's in May, so it's before.
Yeah, they have heavy trash pickups,
May, so 17th.
May, it's in
the
May.
8th.
May
May
8th.
8th. Okay.
Heavy trash pickup.
for heavy trash pickup. Dylan?
I was wanting to know about the, using the baseball field to practice on as an option. I can use it.
We're in the process right now, and we've been working with Aaron, our attorney, and getting all of the legal stuff out of the way.
Well, I am insured. All the girls on the team are insured. We can go anywhere and play.
Well, currently, the field doesn't belong to us. Until that deed is signed, it's not our property.
Are they parking equipment down there?
It's not town equipment.
So it's open for anybody to park down there and use? Or not?
That'd be what the current owner says, but we can't
Who's the
give you
current owner?
permission, the Little League Association.
Who's the Little League Association? Who are they?
They've disbanded it, which is why
So
we're
they're
getting
disbanded.
paid.
Limbo, yeah.
So it's in limbo.
Right.
So basically it's just open property right now. Basically. Right? Or no?
Yes and no. It's
Yes and
it's
no.
going to belong to the town. The town has an interest in it. We have to
Okay.
change it.
Well, my question is, why can't I use it? I already went down there and cleaned the field up. I mean, I redid the field. And I have
I would
insurance
want to make certain that the
I have
town has
insurance right
insurance
here.
in place.
providing all my kids. I mean,
Does our insurance cover us?
I can verify I sent it all over to get it put on our binder.
We're this close, Dylan.
that close?
That close.
Now, but see, what I don't get is how can you keep people out of there then? If nobody's supposed to be on there, how do you keep people out there? Right?
But they haven't kept anybody out because I've seen kids down there.
Because absolutely, and that's awesome. I love kids
Yeah.
going down there. It's great. It needs to be used. I don't see an issue with me going down there with my softball team and practicing on that field. I'm insured. I have the paperwork right here. And now, once I clean it up, I start seeing more kids going down there. I seen more people going down there. I mean, I spent 6 hours on that field out there.
We appreciate that.
And,
We really do.
and you know, I'm willing to mow it or whatever, take care of that field right there until it's resolved. I mean, or until you guys figure it out.
There-
I don't understand why I can't. I mean,
Well, there's two issues right now. First, since we don't have the title,
okay.
we could no more tell you that you can use that field than I could tell someone they could go do something in your backyard because it doesn't belong to us. The second thing from the town standpoint, especially with sports being played, is we want to make certain that our insurance covers the town. And that way, if something happens on that field and someone files a claim against the town, our insurance will be in place.
So you need to get the equipment off the field or off that property, correct?
No.
The real trailer and
Well,
the excavator that was sitting there and all that, right?
When it becomes
That's
Yeah.
public company. So it's public, right? They can use that, right?
no,
No.
They're using
So they're
it.
using it.
they're using it, but that doesn't make it public.
But that don't make sense. You're
If
listening
I
around here on me a little bit.
no, if I started
All I'm asking
having
is
parties in your backyard, does that make it public because I'm doing it even though it's against the law? That's what's happening.
All right, I got it. Thanks.
Like I said, Dylan, we're this close.
I know you are. I know you're working. I appreciate it. I
This
do
close.
appreciate it.
And
And I'm just in a tight spot right now, and I just want my kids to have
Now,
someplace to
if
go.
we don't tell him that he can or can't, and he goes down there, then we're not held liable, and if he takes it upon himself to go down there, same as them guys parking there, we ain't gonna be held liable if he goes down there on his own.
Right. Now, if we know he's doing that over time and we don't act to at least
But
post
we don't
something.
have any authority to post
Right
something.
now we don't.
So he could go down there and continue
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I've got it. I got it.
Yeah.
So, right now,
We don't know
we
you're
gotta
going down
verify
there.
this. Aaron says that if we're not giving him approval or anybody else approval to be on that property, we can't. We don't have the authority to do it until it actually is deeded and transferred over to us. If they go down there, we have no control. We can't go down there and tell them to get off of it because we are not the owner of it.
Right.
So, if they take it upon themselves to go play on that field or whatever and they get hurt, it's not a liability to us at this point.
Right.
Yeah, and that's,
So if
Here it is.
I say that we don't make a decision, and if that's what, he goes down there or whoever else is using that, we cannot tell them not to at this point.
yeah.
So if they do it on their own, and something happens, that
But
we're not giving anybody, nobody,
Let me make
permission
a
to
point
be
here,
on that
John.
property, okay? Because we can't, we don't own it. And
What Johnny's saying to you is correct, but assuming someone in town utilizes the facility,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
I think it'd be a bad idea for them to do any grading or any kind of maintenance work on that property until we find out, get the legal thing
Oh, totally
tied together. So, if some kids wanna get together down there and play ball,
Well, and it's my recommendation that we don't accept the deed until we verify that we've got the insurance. And so we can just leave it the way it is, and then once we know the insurance is in place for the town, at that time we can accept the deed and take title to the property.
And once that takes place, Dylan, which that's in the works right now, is getting that deed checked out and the insurance. Robin's already notified our insurance company. It ain't been verified that we have insurance on there because we do not own it yet.
Yes.
But at that point in time, once that deed is transferred over to them, we will have the authority to say who can and cannot be down there on that property.
Perfect.
And just like that equipment down there, we have not authorized them. They have just pulled it in there, parked it, and, we can't tell them to move it. That's the issue there too. We can't tell them to get their stuff off there.
Yeah.
We can't tell the people that's bringing their dogs out there going crapping out on the field. I've seen that. I've been
Yes.
down there. Trust me, there's people routinely every day.
Absolutely.
I see it. Ain't nothing we can do
I
until.
was just under the understanding that somebody came through and told me, no, I cannot be down there, period. And no one can be down there, period.
No.
So that's what kind of
No,
threw
you're-
me for a loop there.
Yeah, and you're.
And I want to make sure you guys knew that I had insurance regardless, no matter what. Wherever my kids go on my team are insured everywhere.
But yeah, your dad stopped and talked to me when I was down there mowing. I did
Yeah.
go down and mow it the first time, and when he talked to me, I told him we couldn't give anybody permission to do it because the legal issues, and we had to get that resolved before we had any control or authority over it. And that's what
I want to
and
go
I
through
let
you
him
guys
know that.
first before we just went ahead and just went down there and did anything,
And
And so you don't, no mowing, no nothing, anything like that.
Well, I don't know if the board is going to assign or take care of the grass situation down there by an outside thing. I don't know what's going there. But I think we can't even legally do anything until it's titled over our name.
If I'm using it, I'm willing to mow that where I'm using it, to take care of that. So if you guys do take care of it, or whatever happens, that's less for you guys to do.
If Robin got it scheduled for Thursday, it will be over Friday because just take it to the courthouse and record it. I mean, Friday, this Friday, like 2 days away.
well, that could
It's
be
3 days away. It'll be
You probably
the
know
town's.
something for the
here
weekend.
real soon. Hopefully, we'll find something out there
Thank you,
this
I
week.
appreciate
But we don't. We got to verify the insurance too. Even if the deed does go through, we got to make sure the insurance is on it before we. If that deed was to go through, we don't have the insurance on it yet. We definitely don't want nobody down there. We'll definitely be telling you can't be down there until it is insured because we got to watch out for our liability.
Absolutely. So like I said,
The other side of the phone company being down there, I mean, I don't know either way, but they probably donated money to the Little League at some point, so maybe that's one reason why they're using it.
they're
Just making
planning
that
to
comment.
make it.
We don't know, we don't have any
It's
financial
immaterial.
records
It's
from them,
immaterial
so.
what the reason is. We have no say-so on it yet.
Yeah, that's kind of the way we have. Where our hands are tied at this point. And that's where we have to. Like we're not saying yes or no. I mean, we're not giving anybody any approval to go down there.
New one, graduation is June 6th. So garage sales June 13th.
Yeah.
June 13th, garage
Not
sales.
to override you guys, but I know you could care less.
Taking my vacation.
I figured it was time.
Any other new business?
I just have a question. Is Lil Murray still working for the town, or is?
He is still employed
As an ordinance enforcement.
as an ordinance enforcement
Okay,
officer.
okay, so he's still doing that, okay. Turn down mine.
Yep. Been keep my trash cans up.
Not everybody is, though.
Well, when he said he was gonna start enforcing it, he looked right at me, so I took the hint. It only been out there for 2 weeks, so.
Anything else tonight?
Somebody else is putting mine out this week's bringing them in, so I'm not responsible.
There you go. Well, that's what I said. I tried to tell my wife it was her fault, but that didn't work.
We run an ad in the paper looking for part-time help, and this was an application that came through. Emailed it to Andy, and I think Andy's had a phone conversation with him. He included a copy of this for us to look over.
Is he into getting down and dirty?
He has zero experience. I mean, reading. None.
Yeah, he's more into,
I mean, he's got a college degree in telecommunications.
I don't know how to get the word out and get more applicants, but, you know, I think that we need to try some manner and basically kind of give some idea. I was talking to Andy earlier about possibly how many hours we might be looking at needing them, the type of requirements or, you know, what's involved in this kind of work, so that people have a general idea. Reading this application here, you know, I mean.
yeah, he has no idea what it is.
Yeah, basically I didn't see really anything in there that would help Andy it out, you know, and Andy don't have time to train somebody in, you know,
Right.
totally unexperienced. I mean, you ain't gonna find anybody unless they come from another municipality that's done this type of work that's gonna be 100% experienced, it's just line of work, know what to expect, and I don't know, I think, you know, we need to some manner get the word out and take some more applications or something on this.
Should we put it on the town Facebook, or do we?
Anything, you know, as far as I'm concerned, anywhere
It'll
we
get
can
shared
actually,
a million times.
anywhere we could possibly get the word
should.
out and
He should.
pick up applications here.
Maybe I'd let some of the
How many
schools.
hours was Murray working?
It varied. I mean, some weeks it could be as many as none, and when it was heavy in the winter, it might be 50. I mean, it just depended on.
So you need a full-time, part-time.
He never had 50 hours.
Well, it,
Only when
He
emergency.
went over
when
40 on
arise,
occasion.
Yeah.
On occasion, he would go over.
Right now, you know, with all these locate tickets that he's been talking about, you know, Andy's been doing nothing but locate tickets, and here you got the grass growing like crazy, needing somebody mowing, and, you know, you still got the rounds and everything else to do, and the water leaks whenever they hit something or whatever, you know, he's still gotta deal with all that, so we need somebody that has got some experience, can down there take off on their own if he's out doing locates, that can pretty much be familiar with this kind of line of work that would be a help to him instead of him trying to train somebody while he's covered up anyway. It's gonna be the issue.
Our sewer project's gonna start in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, on top of the locates. And Andrew said he was talking to the contractor, and they're talking about sending 4 or 5 crews in once they get dry weather and get in here, so they're gonna really be going strong, and he's gonna be covered up on that, trying to stay on top of the sewer project to boot.
yeah, they're gonna.
So,
I don't know. He said they're gonna stagger it because they're having 4 crews coming in. This one's gonna drop off and come in as the trenchers. And they have another group coming in, putting all the handholds in. And I mean, they're planning on. I think they're planning on getting the ground stuff done before the end of summer. I mean, that's their plan. But I don't know. I think if we had an ad that was a little more descriptive, maybe. I don't know.
Write your criteria and we'll put it on Facebook.
Anything else this evening from the floor? All right, do I hear a motion that we sign the claims and adjourn.
I motion we sign the claims and adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Oh, second. I'm already ahead of you.
Okay.
Claim that we-
Meeting adjourned.